Today we're gonna do something a little bit different, and that is review Josh's, better known as the Iron Musket's, 4 cheese pizza bread thingy mabob. I think it's gonna be pretty good. However, I'm gonna give you some tips and make it a little bit more anabolic, which Remington would be proud of. And I think Josh might make these changes to his bread as well. So I'm gonna make this, we're gonna go over the macros, and like I said, I'm gonna give this recipe to you even if you can't get that 4 cheese pasta sauce. We are going to do it a different way. Without further ado, let's get into it. So even with my bread, I'm weighing it out to make sure everything weighs out perfectly, and I have to switch around a couple pieces, but there we go. Now, I don't use egg whites. They're way too expensive. I do it by hand, and this is a great way to do it, especially when Aldi has eggs for 80 cents, 90 cents a dozen. And we're gonna mix it up so it's not chunky, so all the bread just soaks right in. This is my 35 calorie white bread that I use, and I'm dipping it in, flipping it around a few times, and adding it to the pan. Now, as you can see, I'm definitely not perfect. I put too much egg white, so I'm spreading it around. Yes, your hands will get a little dirty. You will have to wash them, but I want to make sure I use all of my egg white, and I try to evenly distribute it as best I can. And now we season. So I add a good amount of salt, a little black pepper, I'm not a huge fan, garlic powder, thyme, and we're weighing out our pepperonis. This flip is essential. Try to do it quick or else the egg whites are gonna fly everywhere. And here are our 2 sauces, and I weigh out a serving of each. This is what it should look like, and a little taste test, and it is ready to go. Now, in hindsight, I should have put my pepperonis down when the egg whites were still soft. However, I'll do that next time. And then we add our cheese. I didn't like the amount of cheese that I had, so I added some more. I threw some water on the skillet, covered it up with a lid, and I wanted to get that cheese nice and melty. I added a little bit of oregano, which I would have done at the start typically for a little extra flavor, and we are ready to go. And watch your hands. This stuff is hot as shit. Time to eat. We got a full plate, a full big plate of French toast pizza, 4 cheese. Let's talk about it being called French toast first. I would have to say that I was afraid going into it that it was gonna be straight up French toast. I figured it was gonna be the cinnamon and the vanilla, and it ended up really just being the eggs that made it a French toast. So good, I was okay with that. It could have still been good the other way, but that's what I was afraid of initially. Before I get into anything else, I'm actually going to try it. The first 2 slices here are the way he made it, and the rest of them are the way I made it. Let's get into his version first. And actually, I added Parmesan to the top of this. I can never eat a pizza without Parmesan. It is a cardinal sin to not have Parmesan in your fridge, like ketchup, ranch, all that stuff. You need to add some on your pizza. Usually I add way more than this. You should see me whenever I'm at an Italian restaurant. They keep on rolling and rolling and rolling, and it doesn't stop until Parm's gone. Let's eat. First of all, I love Alfredo sauce. So as soon as I take a bite, I get Alfredo. It's a garlic Alfredo, so I get garlic too, and I love garlic, I love Alfredo. And then you get those hints of tomato sauce as well. It has been sitting for about 10 minutes, so I need to put this back into the microwave. But even when it's cold, it tastes great. There's so much sauce on here. This is like kind of like breadsticks. When you get the marinara, you can just kind of dip it, don't dip it. You already know there aren't any rules. If you guys are wondering, you can't taste the egg whatsoever. You can't even really tell it's egg. It just gives it that like density and thickness, but you can't tell it's egg whatsoever. The Iron Musket's version of this recipe is very good. If you already have the turkey pepperoni because you made the deep dish pizza that Remington did, or another one of the recipes that Remington did with the pepperoni, you got eggs most likely, you have bread most likely. You're gonna have to get this sauce, but if you have the ingredients and you're not feeling like sweet and more savory, this is a great option. Of note, I would like to say, Josh calls for 50 grams of sauce. Josh, you're awesome, dude. But there's way more than 50 grams of sauce that you put on yours. I used 185 grams and mine's covered, and yours was covered as well. But you also said don't look at the macros, or you're not caring about the macros today. So I don't know. However, when I mixed both of mine that has 185 grams of sauce, it's only 150 calories, and 1 serving of his was 110 calories. So it is well worth it to go get the Alfredo and go get the marinara and mix it. And more than likely, you're not gonna be able to find it. I looked at Walmart, and like when the pandemic first happened, the shelves were like barren of white sauce. The only thing they had was the roasted garlic Parmesan. I got that, and when I got here, I have a lovely friend over here that was like, why don't you mix the two? So I thought that I should look at both the ingredients and compare them. Quite literally, almost every ingredient is in this 4 cheese classico, and this ragu. Of course, there's a couple of additional ingredients, but when you mix it together, it looks the same. When you look at the actual ingredients on the label itself, it looks the same. I don't know if it tastes just as great, but I'm sure it's very close. And when I looked on Walmart.com, you can't find the actual sauce itself, even if you try to get it delivered, the Bertolli version. So I would recommend getting a mashup. You could probably make 8 pizza French toast with this amount of sauce. And I think you're saving on calories and being able to use more sauce. I wanna try my version. For my version, I added some cheese, as you can see in the making of it. I don't know how you can make a pizza without any cheese, Josh. So I got you covered. We got the fat-free cheese on the pizza, but I also added oregano and obviously the Parmesan on the top, as I mentioned earlier. And I'm gonna be honest, it's hard to tell that there is cheese on there because of how much sauce this is covered in. And feel free to edit these recipes. You can put a lot less sauce if you want and just have, you know, a line down the middle. I love sauce. I think it's great. Next time I probably would use a little bit less sauce actually, but I'm gonna post the recipe as I did it today, and then you guys can make it how you would like. Less sauce, more parm, more cheese, less pepperoni, no pepperoni. It's up to you. I say it's hard to taste it, but you can still taste the cheese. I think it's a must if you have fat-free cheese to add cheese. It's a pizza. I've been out before and someone recommended getting a sauce-only pizza. I was like, what do you mean? Like sauce and cheese? Like, no, just sauce. That's like murderer type of shit. I would never, ever get just sauce. And there's the typical Italian pizza, but you still have the mozzarella on it. It's not covered, but you still get bites of mozzarella. I would never go to a restaurant and say, yeah, hold the cheese, sauce only, please. That's garbage. I gotta add cheese. Most pizza sauces do have oregano in it, so I wanted to add oregano, and I could taste the subtlety of the oregano. I didn't put that much in it, a couple shakes, that was it. And the ones in the back here were covered, so there's not sauce on it, so this is the perfect opportunity for me to wipe up my sauce. So now I might redact my statement and keep the same amount of sauce for next time. So now I'm gonna dip these so I have sauce in every bite. I love condiments, love sauces, love that kind of stuff that comes on any sandwich or pizza or whatever. I don't mind having a lot. It is a lot, admittedly. If you don't like it that much, it's okay, put less on. When I just eat the turkey pepperonis, you could tell they're turkey pepperonis, and both this and the deep dish I made by Remington, you really can tell a big difference. That's how much sauce I have left. And you know your boy is still gonna eat it, even though I have no more bread left. All right. Plate's gone, we're done. I'm gonna wait about 5 minutes to give you my fullness rating, but we can get through everything else right now. By the way, this is my first time having one of these Powerade like water things. It's pretty good. I like Propel a little bit better, kind of like I like Gatorade more than Powerade, but got these for 29 cents. 0 calorie, probably whatever, 5 calories, worth the buy. If you do it the way Josh did it, and I'm going to include the amount of sauce that Josh actually used and not the amount of sauce that he labeled, which is the same amount that I'm gonna use for mine, is 484 calories, 41 grams of protein, 48 grams of carbs, and 18 grams of fat, along with 10 grams of fiber. So 484, not bad. You're under 500. You're gonna be full, and it's gonna taste good. But I had to add cheese to mine, the mozzarella, fat-free, the parm, and with that, we're at 638 calories, so about 150 calories more, 70 grams of protein, 54 grams of carbs, 19 grams of fat, and 10 grams of fiber still. So if you have less calories, take some of the sauce out, take the Parmesan out, put 1 ounce less of the fat-free mozzarella. You can easily get this recipe, my version, down to about 550 without sacrificing too much cheese or too much flavor, but the Iron Muskets is very good as well. And his is already under 500 calories, including all of the sauce that I put on it. So you would be good to go. So flavor, there's all kinds of flavors going on there. I'm not gonna say that it tastes as good as the deep dish or anything, but there's hella flavors going on. Like there's not one flavor, there's not 2 flavors. You got the bread with the egg, with the thyme, with the salt, pepper, garlic, everything. And then you get the sauce, which is my version is the garlic Alfredo plus the marinara. Then you get the parm. So there's like so many flavors, regardless if you have mine or his. I would say his is about an 8 on flavor and mine's an 8.5, just because I added oregano and parm. So it's not this huge jump. You could, like I said earlier, you could barely notice the cheese unless you're looking for it. And I do really like oregano, and since I've made other pizzas before, I know that I do like oregano in it, so that's why I added it. And I do think it gives it that extra half step up. Fullness is gonna be the same for both. I mean, the extra cheese is gonna make you a little bit more full, but I would say it's negligible, especially as I'm not adding more bread or something like that that's gonna expand. I probably won't be hungry for a couple hours. After I work out, I'll for sure be hungry, and I'm gonna have have one of my Cinnamon Toast Crunch protein ice creams because it is my favorite. So fullness, I'm like a 9. I'm not like engorged like I was after the protein ice cream challenge.
Oh my God.
But I definitely am full, and I am not looking to go snack in the pantry right now. That's good news, and I would say that's about a 9. And overall, we're gonna go with the flavor rating. So I'm gonna stick with an 8 and an 8.5. It's definitely not deep dish pizza, but for something that's quick, easy, on the go, this is the first time I've ever made it. Now that I know how to make it, it's gonna be simple in no time. What's great about French toast is that while the French toast is being made, I can clean the rest of the dishes that I have. And by the time I'm done with the dishes, I can grab the French toast off and I can eat right away because it's just about the same amount of time for me to do the dishes as it does to cook. Iron Musket, let me know what you think. You know, I think we would really do great if we collabed on a recipe. We could put our heads together because that Cherry Garcia looked great as well. I was debating doing that one or this one for a review. I picked the pizza. Love pizza more than I like Ben & Jerry's, but I love ice cream and I love pizza. If you want to collab, let me know. But until next time, I will see you in that next one. Deuces.